for 34 years, and one of the most charming things about living in Lewsburg for half my life has been that people pronounce my effing name so well. Thank you, Lewsburg, for pronouncing my name. I really appreciate it. So I am actually speaking on behalf of all the Asians who, as we glance around us, are not here. Thank you. Get
a little bit closer.
A little bit closer. All right. So I wrote this, as I have to read it out loud. I can't ad-lib like everybody else, but I co-wrote it with my sweetie, Mitch Hart, who is a history teacher, which is sort of like living in a house where you don't have to look up Wikipedia. So recently, many Asians and Asian Americans have been targeted in racist attacks. Such attacks intensify in number and scale during what we could call crisis of Asia moments. After the attacks on the World Trade Center, Asian Muslims were assaulted alongside Sikh men who aren't Muslim but have brown skin and wear turbans. After the coronavirus was labeled the China virus by a racist politician, dozens of Asians were brutally beaten and killed, whether they were Chinese or not. And then there were all the random acts of racist violence and discrimination that Asians have confronted, not just in recent years, but over the centuries. The exclusion of all Asians from the Federal Naturalization Acts of 1790 and 1870, the Chinese Exclusion Acts from 1882 onwards, the Japanese-American internment camps during World War II, and more. And now we have this, a situation where when I came 34 years ago, there were 6 Asian families, and now there are dozens, and we can't come out in public. But despite these and other efforts to keep America white, Asians have thrived in this country. Thanks to African American struggles to secure civil rights for all peoples, Asians came to be welcomed into American society. Starting in 1965, we arrived in large numbers from all over the world and planted roots across the nation. Even in remote places where few ethnic minorities live, you're likely to discover an Asian doctor or an Asian teacher tucked away somewhere, ethnically alone, but often cherished and loved by local people. I felt loved in Lewsburg in 34 years. And still do. These days, hardly anyone looks at Asians and tells them, you don't fit, or that you're unqualified, or that you lack merit. People don't say that to Asians. We are model minorities. We're good at math. We have amazing food and music. We don't make waves. This acceptance and approval have come at a price, but we are not the ones who have paid that price. Asians owe a tax to African Americans. It's the civil rights movement that enabled us to be here. When we walk down the street safely or are not targeted by police for harassment, we should be aware that a young black man has likely taken the hit instead. It is no coincidence that the 1965 Immigration Act, which opened the door for non-white people, was passed the same year as the Voting Rights Act, which banned efforts to prevent African Americans from voting. Although these were both progressive pieces of legislation, they actually had a polarizing effect. Non-white immigrants started arriving in large numbers just as barriers came down for African Americans. Now, in the name of diversity, Asians could be hired instead of African Americans. That's why I'm here. Again, Asians owe a tax to African Americans. Instead, some of us are holding hands with white supremacists like Edward Blum, the bum of the so-called Students for Fair Admissions, who pushed the Supreme Court to abolish affirmative action. Some of us, thank you. Some of us are cheering that President Trump, in his anti-diversity so-called Dear Colleagues letter to university, preposterously named whites and Asians as the real targets of discrimination, not African Americans or Latinos. Now you can boo at that. My fellow Asians, I know you're not here because of fear, but please don't buy into this pernicious effort to divide and rule. Don't be lured by the illusion of having some special corner in this whitest of houses. Let us remember how we got here and to whom we should owe our gratitude and allegiance. Instead of joining hands with white supremacists, let us follow in the footsteps of my favorite Black Panther, Fred Hampton. Who urged a rainbow coalition of all people, black, brown, white, and everything in between.